Reveal Nation, today we're going to talk about the stiff-legged deadlift. We've went over athletic stance, hip position, hip hinge. Those are all parts of the stiff-legged deadlift. I'm going to go over this with a prop to keep my back straight, and then I'm going to show a weighted stiff-legged deadlift. So the stiff-legged deadlift, we're loading the hamstrings, the glutes, and we're putting a good stretch on the hamstrings. It doesn't matter how far my upper body goes down. It just matters about not putting pressure on the low back and keeping the hamstrings loaded. I'm going to start with an athletic stance. My shoulders are backing down. My hips about hip width, even a little narrower. Little tension in the glutes. My core's tight. I'm going to start with that hip hinge. Whatever I start with the bend in my knees, about a 10-degree bend, I want to keep. I don't want to start sitting my hips lower to the ground. I'm just going to keep trying to push my hips, push my hips, push my hips, keeping tension in my glutes as far back as I can. That upper body's just going to fold down until my hamstrings get tight. It doesn't matter if you only come here. It depends on flexibility and hamstring strength. The big thing is keeping the load on the hamstrings. So shoulders back, I push back for that hip hinge. Squeeze my glutes, back up straight. One of the biggest things we see is we push the hips back, we start sitting down, or our chest comes up because we want to feel like we need to fold that upper body nice and low. A good way to keep that upper body straight, grab that extra bar. If you're practicing at home, just grab a broomstick. We're gonna put that on the tailbone, the top of the back, and my head. That's 3 points of contact. That just helps me keep that neutral spine. So nice and tall. It's on my tailbone, upper back, my head. I'm gonna push my hips back. I'm staying in the heels. Hips back, hips back, hips back. Squeeze, back up. If I feel the bar come off my upper back, or if I round my lower back and it comes off my tailbone, that's as far as I'm going. That's as far as my mobility is gonna let me go. So just stop there. We'll work from there. Once you get to the point where you can keep that bar on, and I want you to use a bar the first 1, 2, 20 weeks until you get this completely. Until you can get almost parallel to the ground, keep that bar on. Squeeze in the glutes, squeeze in the core, back up. You should feel the hamstrings. If you want to have some resistance, once you have that down, you can grab a weighted bar. Same setup. My shoulders are backing down, my core's tight. I'm gonna hinge at the hips. That bar's always gonna be in contact with my body. So I keep pushing my hips back. The only reason I'm lowering down are my hips are moving backwards. And I'm just moving down, I'm loading those hamstrings. Squeeze, back up. What I don't want to do, push the hips back and round my back to get lower. Remember that neutral spine, we got the 3 points of contact. You can even use a lighter bar if you want. To practice, it's all about patterning and using the right muscles. Remember, this is a hamstring and a glute exercise. So if you do use a bar, it's always in contact with the body. I'm pushing the hips back. I'm keeping my shoulders back and down, squeezing and back up. I should always have my back engaged during this. That's gonna help my shoulders pull back and down so my lower and the side of my back's engaged, my core's tight, and my glutes are flexed the whole time. Hamstring and glutes are the focus of that stiff-legged deadlift. Questions, let us know. Otherwise, that's the stiff-legged deadlift.